Hello folks, this is Off the Record with Azor Photography, and today I'm here with guest Gio from Eat Local, and today we're going to talk to him and get to know him a little bit, and we're going to not just talk about what he's doing now, but where he's from and his upbringing and whatnot. How you doing today, Gio?
I'm doing all right, buddy. How about yourself?
Good. Appreciate you coming. I've been wanting to get a hold of you for a while. I finally did. You've been on my list, and here we are today.
Thanks for having me.
And how long you been doing the Eat Local now?
It's been 3 years so far.
Yeah.
Yep.
5, correct?
Season 5. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Season 5, 3 years.
We'll dive more into that. We're going to talk to Gio about where he's from, his upbringing, and his youth a little bit, and get to know Gio on a personal level. So you're originally from Utica?
Grew up on the west side of Utica, Lenox Ave. Bounced all over the place. Kind of went to New York Mills for a little bit. All over the area. I lived in Rome for a while. Oriskany Falls for a long time. That was my, second home from born and raised from Utica, And then even when I was living in all these places, I'm always coming back and staying with cousins on the weekends and whatnot in Utica. And even now, I live out in Verona right now. So.
Yeah. Well, and you come out here all the time for all your work and projects? Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I moved around a lot too growing up, and it seems like Utica brings you back because it's what you know, what you grew up with.
Yeah.
So did you graduate in Utica?
No, actually, I went to Waterville School for a while. My parents, my mother anyways, didn't want me to be in Utica school districts at the time. So we actually drove from the west side of Utica to go get on the bus where my grandma lived at the time, New York Mills. You know what I mean? Went to New York Mills for a while, and then I went to Waterville and ended up graduating and whatnot from VVS. And I went to the back at school, MSA, Middle Settlement Academy, OG Middle Settlement Academy here. But, just bounce around schools too. You know what I mean? I was kind of a broken native. That's how I, describe it from the area. But like you said, just always back in Utica.
And how old are you now?
I'm 28.
28, wow. Yeah. And what was your upbringing like as a kid?
I mean, just like any other kids probably who grew up on the west side of Lenox Ave in Utica, New York, you know what I mean? Just experiencing all sorts of different things. And like I said, moved around a lot of different things happened and whatnot in life, but I've had the good and the bad, as everybody has, you know what I mean? And in reality, like, I don't try to dwell on nothing. I try to just take things and
go with the flow
and move on from the past. I don't like to live in the past.
Yeah. Well, I always chalk it up as, whether it's good or bad, always try to learn something from it.
It happened, no matter what. It happened, and you're gonna have to deal with it at some point. But you know what I mean. I like to choose to let things motivate me.
Me being 47, I've learned a lot in my life as far as my mistakes, and now that I'm older, I preach to my daughter who's 15 now, and she just doesn't want to hear it. But
right.
It's life experience. We bring something to the table, and when you get my age, you'll have a little more wisdom and knowledge under you. And do you have a family, kids?
Yeah, I do. I'm married. I got one daughter right now, so. Yeah.
So you know what it's like.
Yeah, a little bit.
So when you get older and you start preaching to them and whatnot. So you graduated high school in Waterville, you said?
No, VVS actually.
VVS?
Yep, I got kicked out of Waterville. Shout out Waterville. Got kicked out of Waterville. I mean, that was a big thing. Waterville was actually, a hard time for me.
Just didn't fit in, or you're just a troublemaker?
100% didn't fit in, 100% troublemaker, and combined, you know what I'm saying? It just, it was a recipe for disaster. I feel like I definitely had a lot of other influences going on in my life at that point,
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm glad a lot of things happened from there. Honestly, me moving away from Waterville and Oriskany Falls, that's where I lived at the time, but you went to Waterville School, probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, to be honest with you.
So
VVS, yeah, Verona, Sherrill. Yeah, that's where I actually finally graduated from. I actually tried dropping out 3 times from there, and the people who were running the school at the time, principal, superintendent, counselors, I just didn't let it happen.
Were you thankful that you're pushed to do that?
100%. Honestly, I still can't even believe I graduated high school at all. I know it might sound crazy. School was never for me, and I did well when I wanted to and really applied myself, you know what I mean? But obviously, when I didn't care, it was horrible, you know what I mean? But I had a lot of bad times in school. I was working at the same time I was in school too, and I just felt like there was other things to worry about than school. And like I said, I tried to drop out 3 times from VVS, and I just you know what I mean. Like they just wouldn't let it happen. And if they didn't make it happen, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I've done to now, just in like the professional 9 to 5 jobs that really do require a high school diploma
Right.
or equivalent. Which I think if you're not going to go to school after high school, you know, regular, you know, 12th grade, at least make it through.
You don't necessarily need, you know, a PhD, a master's, or even a bachelor's. It's just how you motivate yourself along the process.
Absolutely,
In
100%.
life, too.
All roads lead to where you're gonna be. You know what I mean at that moment in time. How'd you end up getting in the military from going to college, dropping out, and all that?
I was 23, and I always wanted to get into law enforcement or be in the military. I had an uncle who was in the military, so he was a big influence. And you know, I was a troubled kid, growing up and moving around a lot, and had my own, you know, jobs and apartments and trouble. And at 23, I said it's time to finally do it, and I did it. And when I moved back to New York after the military, I'm like, you know, I got the GI Bill. Might as well go back to school and finish what I started.
Right. Used it to your advantage. No, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Like I said, you don't need an education like that with college to really advance yourself. There's trade schools, and if you take the initiative and learn stuff, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So you said you're 28, correct?
Yeah.
So from the time you graduated school till you started the 315 local, what were you doing between then?
Oh man, honestly, I wasn't even on social media for a long time either. Between those times, didn't have any social media, and I was basically just working. You know what I mean, grinding, trying to just probably find myself and what I wanted to do. You know what I mean, in and out of different jobs, all over the place. You know what I mean, living crazy lifestyles, and just finally kind of landed in a steady spot where I like to be at, where I felt comfortable, and everything's been pretty decent from there. You know what I mean? I got with my wife at the time for, I mean, it was forever ago. I can't even tell you how long ago exactly without sitting here and counting on my fingers. But it's been a while.
Hope she doesn't watch this.
I'll tell you the same thing, so I'm not going to be too worried. But, you know, we graduated together, you know what I mean? And we were together at the time, so it's been a long time. You know, like we just been with each other and lived with each other since we got out of high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
You don't have to answer this if you don't. How old's your kid, if you don't mind me?
5.
5.
Yeah.
Did you find having a kid at 23 change your life and outlook on things a lot?
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, instantly. I mean, maybe not instantly, but like from the time, you know, you find out you're having a baby and you're going to be a father and how serious it feels, you know what I mean? And then you just, I don't know, everything starts to change. Like you start, you know, just moving and operating in a whole different frequency, and you know, like there's a goal, and you're not living for yourself or doing things for yourself anymore. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have to be this person's everything. You know what I mean? And I'm not like the father who's not existent. You know what I mean? Like I'm on the park with her. You know what I mean? She's an only child. If we go to Billy B's, I'm breaking my knees with her. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I remember doing that with my kid. It's always a fun adventure trying to be there, you know, involved with what they're doing,
Yeah.
and they motivate you. They really,
100%.
and when she was growing up, she was a big motivation to better myself, so I could try and provide a better upbringing for her than I had it growing up.
100%, and I feel like that's what every parent does. You know, generational thing. No matter who you are, your parent tries to be better than what they had, and definitely something you sit there and think about, and you always sit there and question yourself if you are doing good or not. I feel, but like you said, it's a motivational thing. Like I want to lead by example. I want her to know, like,
You always question yourself as a parent: am I doing the right thing or not?
Right.
And you go through the stages, but wait till you hit the teen years. It's going to be a whole different experience because you spend your whole life telling kids what to do. Then they hit that, being a teen, and it's like they want to be independent. And that's kind of how we raise them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we don't like it when it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
It's like, a whole different kid once they become a teen. And all you can do is guide them as a teen and show them
As
no
a
matter
person.
what. Yeah.
Exactly. Got them in this lifestyle, in this life, anyways.
So, besides doing the Eat Local thing now, you're working full time, correct?
Yeah, we're full time. Run the business basically full time at the same time. You know what I mean? For nothing.
So what gave you the idea to do the Eat Local?
So I've always been like a creative in different spaces. You know what I mean? It was always music. That was kind of how it started. You know what I mean? And I've always been like super into movies, and I always just liked Martin Scorsese. You know what I mean? He's just one of my biggest inspirations. I used to watch his movies over and over and over again, and the way you feel when you're looking through someone else's eyes, you know what I mean, and how they can paint the picture for you. So like, I got into the camera because I was actually taking photos, and
So you started out doing photography first?
Yep, me and my buddy.
Self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught. Didn't know anything about it. Just picked up the camera, started taking photos with my buddy Cody, and just learned everything I could about the camera, and started making music again after that. Got back onto social medias, and then everything was kind of like in this weird moment, and someone told me like, hey, why don't you just try doing your own food show, because like you always talk about doing your own food show.
Now, when you said music, were you doing music videos, or you were making music yourself?
Music
Singing?
myself,
You were
yeah.
singing your own
Yeah,
songs and stuff?
rapping music, engineering, producing other people.
Do you have songs available like on YouTube and whatnot?
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all
What's it under?
Gump. Yep.
You can look at the camera and plug yourself.
GIOGUMP, like Forrest. Stupid as a stupid does, but we're not related.
So was it all hip hop music you started out with?
Basically, I'm a big fan into like heavy metal. I was a heavy metal kid growing up. Believe it or not, I was a skater kid. You know what I mean? Who liked heavy metal and rap music, and I thought I was gonna like scream rap, and just didn't happen. So I went the obvious like just regular rapper thing. It's a big thing for people to do around here,
Right.
and my cousin was really big into the rap scene and whatnot down here, and I just kind of started rapping myself, and that's where it all started.
You said you started out with music and whatnot. What piqued your interest into music? Did you grow up listening to particular groups, bands, anybody?
Yeah, so I mean, back in the day, the heavy metal music I was listening to, and I mean, Korn's not heavy metal, but like Korn was a big band that we listened to growing up. I liked I forget the names of it actually at this very moment, but a lot of it was rap music as well. And if it wasn't rap music, it was most likely some sort of heavy metal or rock songs. Regardless, even old like country songs too. I heard growing up just from the people around me. But my brother's like my biggest influence. Brody B, he's all over the show and stuff that I do, and he was always listening to music growing up, and it was always rap music, and it was Young Jeezy, you know what I mean? It was French Montana, 50 Cent. 50 Cent and Eminem are the first two rappers that I can like really remember hearing, as a matter of fact. And then that was like what piqued any sort of interest in music right there, you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what the music culture is now. I haven't really been involved myself too much in the community for a long time because, a lot of people know some of my backstory. I've been dealing with my mental health, being a combat veteran and whatnot, and that's why I started photography. But I do recall Utica has a significant music background that not a lot of people know about. And even before you were born, back in the day, they had many recording studios in and around Utica. And I forget some of the names of the bands, but some big bands recorded songs in Utica, especially the downtown area, in studios.
It's really cool to know.
Now, is there still a culture of that going on in Utica
100%.
today?
There's so many studios, even if they're like home studios, that are top quality studios. There's real studios that you can go to and book time at. You know what I mean? There's very, very alive and well is the music culture in Utica, New York, and the surrounding areas.
This thing today about technology these days, you don't have to have $1 million studio, and
Right.
you could just do something in your house. Like I have my studio in my house, I have my office here in my house,
Exactly.
and
You can make it happen if
gotta
you want
start
to.
something, start small and grow from there.
100%.
And so you started with doing your videos with the music and singing songs and everything like that, and then somebody said, "Well, you love food. Why don't you do something with food?"
Yeah, I was kind of like sitting there just chopping it up, and like it would be cool to do my own food show, this, that, and the third. And they're like, just do it. And they're like, it's not that much different, you know what I mean? Hire someone to do just like we would for a music video, you know what I mean? And go about it. And it wasn't from that moment until probably a year later, after that moment, where I really went for it. But I toggled with the idea from then on out and kind of mapped it out. I'm a big write things down, look at it, rip off the piece of paper, and see if it works. And honestly, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. You know what I mean? And I did, and I went for it. And the first one was a event, which I never also did before. I never held
So
an
this was
event.
your first time going to anything for your show. This was episode 1.
Episode 1. I never held an event before. I held my first event. And I hired a dude by the name of Fuller Frames, Marcus Fuller. Shout out my guy. And he pulls up, and it was, I don't know, it was a lot going on. You know, I had an art show going on with music and music videos
So you held
playing.
an event yourself, sponsored it, and had an event for your episode 1.
Yeah,
And it was
I called around. I got the location. It was basically a wine spot, Villa Verona Winery, as a matter of fact, out in Verona, and we had it there. They had wine, food, all sorts of crazy stuff, and we had an art show with local artists, and we had a pop-up booth with like people's clothing and whatnot. They were selling stuff, and it's a good time. People's music playing over the thing that you can walk around and meet. It was like a good locals gathering. Then you can buy people's art. You can exchange numbers to make music with somebody. And also, I shot the first episode ever of E-Local right there, November 19th, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Was it a successful event that you had?
I would say for someone who's never had an
Never
event
done it?
before, I didn't think anything went bad. So, yeah.
Kind of like my first episode off the record. I'm like, even if I got one person to watch it,
That's it.
there's one more person than I had before.
Exactly. 100%.
So sometimes you just got to wing it and go with it.
Yeah,
and,
no, it's all about, perception on how things are in this kind of lifestyle too, with photos and videos and putting it out to the public. You know what I mean? Like, okay, one person does watch it. Who is that one person? You know what I mean? Who may watch everyone from here on out, no matter what. And that's kind of how I think about it. You know what I mean?
So many people were on your team for the first episode.
Myself. I mean, don't get me wrong. A couple buddies were like pushing me. My brother was there. He didn't really come. I don't know. My brother Brandon Brody B. He's the producer and a camera guy now for the show. But
The first one was just
he's,
strictly you.
yeah, I did everything myself. I hired Fuller Frames, so it was kind of him and I. And a couple buddies weren't there, but always there in heart and just supporting and behind me, but didn't hop on until later on and really kind of like get serious with me. So right then, maybe myself and Fuller, you know what I mean?
So how many episodes did you do your first year? Do you recall?
Every season has been 10 episodes. I wanted it to be, you know what I mean? So if you said there's 5 seasons, you know that you add a 0 to the season, and that's how many episodes you got, 50. You know what I mean?
Was the first year pretty stressful for you doing it?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. So everything was coming out of my pocket. Nobody understood what I was trying to do. You know what I mean? I would, talk to some restaurants. They'd be like, "Who are you?" I don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever. You know what I mean? But some people gave me some shots. Some people gave me some leeway to get in there and show them what I was talking about. And so it was like scheduling, and then like doing the video part of things. Like I wasn't like an on-camera person myself
Right.
at that very moment. You know what I mean?
You learn and you grow into it.
And it was like all these different moving parts at one moment. So yeah, first season, even probably the second season, very stressful. You know what I mean? And I mean it's still stressful now, but it's stressful in different ways.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I find like doing my show compared to my first episode, which is, about 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I'm learning as I'm going, and I'm using, it's hard trying to do everything yourself. The production, the setup, the lighting, the editing,
dump the files,
and
charge everything back up.
my first episode 1 was a nightmare. I shot episode 1 twice. First time I did it with 3 cameras. I was trying to get the fancy, one angle here, one angle there, wide shot.
Yeah.
And it just, sitting there and editing it, it's like you get tunnel vision. And then just the time, people don't understand. They think it's just point and shoot.
Lost in the sauce and kind of sucked into it, you know what I mean? And people don't understand that either. Like you got to have a different brain for everything too. Like the shots when you're out there. And that's another thing too. I played around with the photography. I never really shot full on videos and edited them. You know what I mean? I would shoot some things, kind of play around on my phone. It would look really cool, really good, but I didn't really take it that seriously. I actually just last year bought a real editing platform. I really just bought a whole new laptop for all this stuff. You know what I mean? I just bought a new microphone for the cameras, like a gimbal. I'm learning about all of this. I was on the phone with Sony the other day for an hour and a half trying to figure out a problem. You know what I mean? And so.
But before you started this, you said you had photography background, correct?
Yeah, 100%.
So you had a little bit familiar with cameras and stuff like that, right?
And especially for shooting, still shots and then editing those, I got a good handle on that. But when it came to, all right, now, I'm walking and shaking the camera, all this different stuff you just never think about.
Yeah, I'm still learning myself, because as a photographer, I never expected to dive into some of the other side projects I do. I never expected to go to vendor shows, selling prints and trying to push products, and on my website. I did that because I found another way to try to make some money.
100%.
And being a new photographer in the field, I came out of nowhere last year. Nobody knew who I was.
Right.
It took me a few months to really get my name out there. And it's just, the past year has been, for a new photographer who's just getting into it, it's been a pretty successful year for me.
Right.
But it hasn't been without its trials and errors and learning as I go. I eat, sleep, and breathe photography.
Yeah.
And then I get people who say, hey, can you do a video for us?
Yeah.
And then I don't have the gimbal and stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. I almost did a music video shoot, and then I'm kind of glad I backed out of it, because there's a lot of work going in doing these music videos.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I've done some very light work with music videos early on when I was not filming the show, basically myself and editing myself and everything else. You know what I mean? But learning everything, and like you said, I'm doing vendor shows and trying to push product. Now you're a salesman. Now you're printing your things out yourself. You're framing your own things. Now you're production crew. Like, you got your own manufacturing warehouse, studio. You do everything in your own little bubble, and people don't realize, like, it kind of gets crazy, and it does. And sometimes you look back like, damn, is this worth it? Sometimes, but you realize, like, how far you've come, how much you got to motivate you, and why stop now? Like you said, you never know who that one person might be watching.
Yeah, sometimes I get like that too. I'm like, is this all this stuff I'm really doing worth it? Mm-hmm. And then I look back and I think about the past year. I've been in 8 art galleries. I won Cornell Art Contest. Mm-hmm. I actually have some high-profile clients now on my client list. But I always still doubt myself. Right. And then I get myself out of it, and then I doubt myself again.
I think that's kind of a thing that we're just going to have to deal with, not only as, like, creatives, but humans. You know what I mean? You're going to doubt yourself. But with this stuff, it does come hard, because, like, you're putting this out to the public, and you're trying to sell it. And sometimes you got a good month.
So what motivates you to get past those humps of when you're self-doubting yourself? Is this worth it? Am I wasting my time? For me, I do it because I enjoy it. When I lose the enjoyment in something, I'll stop doing it. But I still, even when you enjoy yourself doing it, you're not just doing it for yourself when you're putting it out there to the public. So how do you get over that hump yourself?
Just like you said, you kind of just sit back and, like, I look at my daughter a lot, and, like, I don't want to give up and show her to give up. That's, like, one big thing to me. Like, don't ever give up on yourself and the things that you can do. And I'm also trying to like really build something from scratch, and I want to show her like it's not easy. You know what I mean? But also, like you said, like I started this. I just wanted to do something cool for the local, like the locals. You know what I mean? I wanted to bring in, like I said, local photographers to sell their art, artists who sell their paintings. I got someone selling beanies and clothing right here. I got someone who makes soaps homemade. Like I've had these events now that like brings people together and highlights our area. That was my thing, and we went and did something with Frank Pinello in season 2, episode 1. And Frank Pinello is this pizza guy who's been on Vice TV, had a successful show, and he's got pizza shops a few different places in New York State. And I looked up to him a lot, and I remember watching him as a younger guy and going like, it'd be so cool to go sit down with this guy, pick his brain, and you know what I mean, like do something. Never thought in a million years I'd be able to do that. We start the season, and in one season, you know, he finally, you know, messaged back and was like, "Hey, I'd like to do something like this with you." So we went out there. We packed
Because he saw your work prior to me.
100%. You know, he watched the season, and he liked what we were doing, and that I was very serious, and having him as a guest on the show and what it would mean to me. And honestly, we did that, and I was like, I don't know what's next. Like, we just got to go sit down with this guy, and it was an amazing. They say like, don't meet your heroes. I'm glad I went and did that. Like, it was a pleasure. He sat there for hours off camera just talking about the things that we're doing and how you can tell like we're not just here for money.
Right.
We care about this, you know what I mean, and we care about the product and the food that we're going to eat and the people that we're going to meet.
Yeah, passion behind it. The sky's the limit. Is the passion.
That's where it started. That's the first season. People were like, "Why do you want to do it here?" I said, "This is a passion project to me. You know what I mean? This is a place that I'd like to highlight." And they're like, "Well, okay, you know what I mean? Sounds good to me." Right. And I'm thankful for that. You know, that my passion shines through sometimes.
This is Off the Record with Azor Photography. Take a quick break. Off the Record with Azor Photography, just coming back from a quick break, and now I have a little guest on my lap here. He's making a little bit of ruckus in the kitchen, so I thought I'd just let him come on my lap for the interview. All right, so now after talking to him, you said that was season 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was his name again?
Frank Pinello, yeah.
So that was a big push on me, like, yes, 100%. I'm on the right path.
100%, yeah.
And it's nice when other people support you and whatnot. I remember when I first started doing photography last year, one of my, I have many inspirations when it comes to photography. One of them was Kurt Gardner up in Old Forge.
Okay.
I don't know if you
I've definitely heard of him, yeah.
He has a gallery up there, and I'm about 2 months into photography. I've been taking pictures with a cheap $600 camera kit. Take beautiful pictures, surprisingly.
Right.
And I'm like, I gotta go meet him. So I went up to Old Forge for the day with my kid, and we went and met him. And I shook his hand and said, you know, you're a big inspiration, your work will not. And he actually sat down with me for about 15, 20 minutes during his business hours and looked at almost all my pictures that I had, because I transferred them all to my phone back then. And I was doing editing on my phone instead of on the computer.
100%.
And I mean, the words that he gave me kept. I'm like, he's like, you're onto something, and it really motivated me to continue to drive myself to do better and better. And just that, you know, a well-known established photographer who's successful, you know, giving somebody who just started out of the gate doing it, really inspired me to keep going, and that's why I support other artists. It doesn't matter if they're photographers or whatnot. I support everybody.
100%. I that's why a big thing. Yes, we're a food related like business and whatnot, and that's kind of the content that we specialize in. But everyone eats is that's what it means. Like there's room for everybody. Support everybody. You know what I mean? Support your local. Everything. Everyone's got room to eat, man, and it doesn't matter if you take that literally or figuratively. You know, restaurants or, you know what I mean, photographers. You know what I mean? There's room for everybody.
Do you find yourself having beginners or amateurs coming up to you asking you questions when they see you out in the field?
100%.
I get it all the time.
And it's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, I'm still learning just like you, man. And whatever information I can, and I'll say that too. You know, shout out Marcus Fuller again. And a couple other people. You know what I mean? Like they were so just open and with their knowledge with the cameras, with how to be with a show. Like I said, Frank Pinello, and like you said, there's those moments where you can tell that you're on that right path. That's happened a few times now, and you know, those people who share the knowledge and want to see you do good and realize, like you said, you're onto something. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, you know, just a motivator too. You know what I mean? And a big thing is the people who don't want to see all this be so well done and, you know what I mean, ran. You know what I mean? The people who don't want to see things be so positive and whatnot. You know what I mean? And I think it's good for both, but it always just motivates me when people are open with the booklet of knowledge that they have.
I call it paying forward.
Paying it forward.
I've met photographers in the field who are seasoned, some great photographers. I've gotten bits and, advice from them while out in the field, and a couple of them I became friends with. Mm-hmm. And when I meet a beginner out in the field, when I'm at events or something, they'll come up to me, and I tell them, like you said, I consider myself an amateur photographer who runs a professional business. I don't like it when people say I'm a professional photographer,
right, because
there's so much to learn,
right,
as a photographer. And but I tell them, I'm upfront with them that I'm self-taught, took a few classes, but photography is my life, and I'll give them some bits of advice and pay it forward with the stuff I've learned.
Yeah, there's nothing that's bad that's gonna happen from there. You know what I mean? And I think about the people who've done that for me, and I wouldn't be where maybe I would be, but not as fast. And it's why not? You know what I mean?
I found like I always thought like if I ran into other photographers, they'd be like they'd be, I don't know what the correct word would be, but distant because they look at me as competition. But yes, we're all competition. It's all right to have friendly competition, but I never expected the support I've found from meeting other photographers, right, who in essence are my competition, but we all support each other.
Right. I mean, that's kind of, we're all in the same lane, you know what I mean? Cameras and media and whatnot, and you know what I mean? And why not? I've been to places, I've been to shows covering for media, for many different things, and you do run into like some of those people who kind of are like, damn, like they're here, da 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 da, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, who cares? You know what I mean? We're all about to get the same photo. We're about to go and edit it the way we seem fit and put it out for other people to look at. We're not reinventing
photography and video. It's just another form of art.
Exactly.
And like I didn't see. I was selling prints before I got my first paid photo shoot. Mm-hmm. And that's why I formed my business, was so I could sell prints and products on my website. And I figured that if my photography was good enough, that my first paying client would come to me, and that's what happened. Mm-hmm. About 5 or 6 months into it, a customer came to me, said, "Hey, I like your stuff. I want to hire you." So that's when I decided, well, maybe it's time to start charging and advance myself. But I always tell like other beginners, especially on Facebook, it's a nightmare on social media and all these different groups and whatnot. You always get the well-seasoned. I don't know what the correct word. The well-seasoned photographers or artists out there who are hard on beginners. Mm-hmm. Say, "Oh, you shouldn't be charging this and that. Your stuff is not that good." Blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's art. If a client decides they want to pay me, chances are they already seen my stuff. Mm-hmm. So I leave it in the client's hand. Yeah, let the client decide.
100%. That's a good way to look at it, man. Yeah.
So after your second year of, when did you really realize you were really onto something?
Honestly,
was it right away, or did it take a couple of seasons?
I thought that when the first day when we filmed and we had the event, like I was very, very nervous. Like no one shows up to this event. Is the video going to be good? Like it kind of all relied on that. But then people showed up. People had a blast. People liked the idea behind what I was doing and showcasing this food and the place that we were at and the people involved and da 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 da. Everyone had a chance on the camera. Right. It wasn't just focused on one person, It was showcasing everybody, and I was like, okay, So people get the idea.
So you knew you were onto something right from the get
I
go.
would say it went so well that I was just like, this makes sense. You know what I mean? What I'm saying isn't just, not gonna just flop. You know what I mean? And I know with the work ethic I'm gonna put behind it, it's not just gonna flop either. So I was like, this I'm onto something. Yeah, 100%. That first event. Yeah.
So when I came across you on Facebook a while ago, I try to get involved in the community now as a business, and I'm still learning about who a lot of people are out in the community because I've been self-isolated for so long.
I get it.
And I see Utica in a whole different light now. And when I come across people who say negative things about Utica, I tell them, well, get involved.
Right.
Make a change. Do something.
Right.
Utica's not that bad of a place when you
Right.
really dig behind the scenes of it.
100%.
And
I love this place. That's why I do what I do too. Like I really do love where I'm from. Everyone's like, this town is crazy. You gotta get out of here. You won't know anything bigger. But honestly, like this is home, and I love the places that we got and the people that we know around here, man. So
now, as far as like your competition, there are other people who do what you do.
yeah,
And for your aspect of it, I've had this conversation with other people about you specifically. And what I like about you is one, you're young, you're a younger generation. You put a spin on what you do, and compared to some of these other food guys that do videos in the area, so you're catching a whole different genre of folks, the younger generation too. Do you find that your youth and your spin on how you do it is an advantage over your competition, or do you just don't worry about your competition and do your thing?
a little bit of both. Definitely don't try to compare myself to anybody. You know what I mean? There's a few people who do the exact same thing that I do. Chances are I've reached out to them and tried to collaborate and do something bigger for the community. There's things that I've obviously even learned from seeing them do. You know what I mean? And that's not just like trying to be a rip or whatnot, but being a nobody, you know what I mean? And not knowing how to run a food show locally or independently,
Right.
you know what I mean? Just kind of how it goes. But I try to just go out there and be ourselves. Everyone that you see on the camera, like we pull up to places and people are like, yo, you guys are the same way. You guys are having so much fun over here. And we're like, come eat. You know what I mean? Grab something
Well,
to
that's
eat.
what it's
Like,
about with you.
we're having fun.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to do, like, we usually do things one take. If one of us mess up and we laugh about it, all right, we'll throw it in there or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. And
Yeah, I find when you show your genuine self,
yeah.
not try to be all Hollywood and all fake, you can connect with your audience more. You find that true?
100% true, because like I said, what you see is what you get for us. We're not faking nothing, you know what I mean? And we even have it in our filming agreement when we go to places, like we won't defame anybody, but if like I don't like the food, I'm going to say why I don't. And I'm trying not to bash when we do say we don't like certain things, but I'm not just going to come there, like that's a big thing, authentic and real. That's what, we're not going to tell you something just because we're there, or the owner's standing there or whatnot. You know what I mean? We're gonna have fun our way. We're gonna do the show our way, and we're gonna have fun doing it. That's it.
That's another aspect of the business aspect is me being a photographer and me being out in the community.
Yeah.
I kind of have to watch what I say or what I do.
Yeah.
Because sadly, that's just how the world we live in.
No,
You
100%.
say one bad thing about something or leave a bad review, you can upset a whole, potentially some clients or people in the future. So it's kind of like a thin line. Like I always say, my show is never going to be about politics or religion. It's like my personal views and my opinions. Like if I go to a restaurant and eat food and I think it's not that good, now that I own a business, do I really want to lead a bad review? Because
I get it 100%, and it's not even like we don't try to leave bad reviews, and we try to also talk about like our palates to me, and what I may think is a great plate, you might think.
So how do you work around that? Do you word it to where it's not coming off disrespectful?
100%. I mean, everything we do is with respect. We're not saying anything good or bad without respect. You know what I mean? First and foremost, and it's just brutal honesty. You know what I mean? Like it's not for me, and it could be this reason or that reason. I will say why, but it's not like this is horrible. I'll never eat
Have
this
you
again.
been to a place you've had to been to a place that was just a horrible experience overall.
Honestly, most places that we've been to, and it may be hard to believe because we're going on 50 episodes now. Like, most of the places we've been, they either know that we're coming and they prepare so well for it, which I don't think, because it's just a couple people coming to eat some food with a camera.
Right.
But, like, outdid themselves. And there's been things like with filming, you know what I mean? Like, in general, not with restaurants, where you're like, I would never come back here, you know what I mean, again. But
some of your videos, you go behind the scenes too, like in the kitchen.
that's what we try to do for Eat Local too. We want to go in the back. We want to meet the chefs. We want to meet the people in the back of the house. We want to see you cook. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to show us, you know, we're willing to have. You know what I mean? And that's one of my biggest things too. I want to go behind the counter, and I want to tell a story from outside of the all the way into the kitchen.
Have you have you done a surprise visit at all to any places yet?
Not surprised, because, you know, I'm also filming in their business. So most of the time it's planned out. But a lot of places that I go to, if people know and I've talked to them before, they'll invite me back and just show me the spot, no camera, you know what I mean? Look at this what I got going on, and this, that, and the third thing. So definitely surprised, like walkthroughs. For me, I'm surprised that I get to walk through places when I can, you know what I mean? And but not usually with the camera. That's usually planned.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. Your very first episode was an event you threw.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to go into behind the scenes in the restaurants?
So even with the thought behind Eat Local, when we started, like, all right, cool, it's gonna be an event, but also, like, the food is like the food and place we're at. The event's supposed to be like, all right, first episode, event, you know what I mean, big thing, you know what I mean? I kind of wanted to build it up, like, people come, be on camera, I want to show what this is going to be about. And
not only are you're eating the food at the tables and whatnot, like I say, you're going behind the scenes, you're going in the kitchen and stuff like that. Was that an idea that you came up with later?
No, right on the bat, the first episode, you can go back and watch it. We're back there, right in the way of these guys trying to cook for 2 parties and regular guests at the restaurant, and he's, you know what I mean, just on the fly. You know what I mean? We walked in there, he's like, what's up? You know what I mean? He's like, I'm going to be moving. We're like, it's all good, you know? And I usually don't have anything planned, like, unless it's a really big interview, like with Frank Pinello, we definitely plan those questions. You know what I mean? When we went to Yankee Stadium, definitely plan those questions. But, like, things like this, when I'm on the spot with chefs, I usually just go off the experience, what I know about them, and just pick the brain. So we walked in there, he's like, you know, can I get what you're going to ask him? And I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to ask you. And he's like, nice.
My first interview asked me if I had questions written down. I said, I don't want it to be like that, because I want it to be candid and off the cuff. And, you know, if a thought pops in, I want to ask it.
Yeah,
and you know, I do research people that I want to interview just a little bit, but I want some of it to be surprise to me, so I can be more engaged with it.
100%.
And did you find that? I don't know. I lost my train of thought because of the dog. Your bad influence. Now, what I was going to say is, like you going behind the scenes in the kitchen and getting more involved to tell your story. I find myself when I do events as a photographer, either paid or my charity. I do a lot of charity work too. I want to get involved. If there's musicians on the stage, I want to be on the stage taking pictures.
100%.
I don't want to, do all these weird angles, stuff like that. Yeah. So when people contact me, either for charity or event work, I let them know up front. If you want the whole story, you got to let me.
Be all around.
You got to let me go where I want to go.
100%.
And just like New Year's Eve, last year, I went to New Year's Eve in Utica. The first time I ever been to one, and it was a beautiful, extraordinary event. But prior to going, I contacted Bank of Utica. They actually let me in the bank at like 11 o'clock at night, brought me up on the second or third floor, and I was able to take pictures of the ladies doing the aerobatics or acrobats in the windows and stuff.
Really cool.
And this year, I'm debating if I'm going to go to, because I was there from 5 o'clock in the evening to about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it goes
and
like
I
that.
gave all those pictures out for free. But it helped to give me exposure.
100%.
So now
That's how it goes sometimes, though.
So I'm debating if I'm going to do it again this year or not, but this year, if I do go at the end of the month, I want to see if I can get on stage and take pictures of some of the acts, because some of the acts up there are some of the people I've already photographed before.
Right.
So, I think you could tell a better stop. You could tell a better story when you're involved on every level of the story. You know?
Right. 100%. No, you need the 360 visuals, 100%.
Yeah. And I was thinking about getting one of those 360 cams. You ever think about getting one of those?
I haven't, honestly. No, have not.
So I never thought I'd be getting into video or doing my show. I'm actually working on tips and tricks of photography as well.
That's cool.
But it's hard trying to do it all when you don't have a gimbal,
Yep.
stabilizer, and it
Yeah.
costs money, you know.
100%.
And I never expected to do all that. So have you found like your list of equipment and the list of stuff you want to get keep growing?
Yeah. I mean, I made a little list at first. As soon as I scratched off 2 things, I added 3 more, and you just learn out in the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you know what would be nice for this moment right here? And a lot of my stuff now, my bag is like, and a lot of my guys and my team knows this and they think I'm funny for it, but like this contingency plan, like if ABC goes wrong, I'm packing this bag.
Right.
For C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You know what I mean? So, like, I got a lot of stuff that I usually don't need now, but it's because I don't want to mess up. I don't want to go out there and just not perform well. You know what I mean? I need this to go well. And a lot of my equipment now is because of that. I may have 1 or 2 things. Everything's double, 2 cords of this, you know what I mean? Just in case one breaks out there,
Yeah.
You never know. And that's kind of where I'm at right now is I got a few things that's like essential that I still need that I just learned about that's like, all right, hold on a second. Now that I'm actually running the camera and editing too, I need this, you know what I mean? So like running into those things, but as for the most part, to get the show done, I have everything we need right
When
now.
you first started, you already had like stabilizers and stuff like
No,
that.
so that was I had a camera and it was a cheap starter. I think I got it from a pawn
So you
shop.
just free holding the camera for your first episode?
So I actually paid. I was paying for it to get done by Fuller.
Oh, okay.
He did it. He went to school for the stuff. He's been making videos for a long time. I learned a lot from him shooting the episodes throughout the years now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I finally bought my own one because he had to step away for a season. I don't know how long, but he just had a newborn baby. Shout out you. But he's got a lot going on, so he stepped away, and I don't really feel comfortable letting a lot of people into this.
Right.
So I went and bought everything a little bit before the season started and kind of started learning it. And now I got two stabilizers. You know what I mean? I got a attachment mic, the boom mics. I got shirt mics. I got stand mics. I got tripods for the cameras. Got all sorts of stuff that I never knew I'd have before. It's actually pretty crazy.
Hopefully, I'll get more equipment as I advance and move on. And
You will.
if I ever get sponsors and advertisers and stuff like that. But, jumping out of the gate doing this show, pretty much I'm just working with bare minimum. I just bought these microphones, so this is the first time I've used these microphones. So hopefully,
That's awesome. I hope
hopefully
they work,
we'll find out. But
They don't look bad.
I tried the wireless ones and they were just horrible, and I'll have to probably get more expensive.
I went through 3 sets before I got to mine now,
Yeah.
and
So your team now is what, 5 people?
about 5 people. Yeah.
And the food dude, I forget his name, Keith.
Keith. Yeah.
I met him in passing a couple times, and then I met him at was it the street team car show
Okay.
in Cornhill.
Yeah.
So I've been following him along. He's a cool, nice guy.
100%.
And I don't think I met your other team members yet, but eventually I'd like to get an interview with him
Yeah.
because of his aspect of volunteering in the community
Yeah.
and street team, and he works with the youth
Yeah,
program.
Youth Bureau. And he's the one to talk to. He coaches kids. He's all over the community. He's doing some special event right now where he's a youth advocate and people can go and talk to people who run businesses in the community and whatnot. He's doing a lot of good things.
He's definitely got a radio or video voice.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's got a perfect voice for videos.
Yes, he does.
So,
Yeah.
so now that you're 5 years in, Is there anything you regret about the past 5 years?
Um, Regret? No, I wouldn't say so. I mean,
Not just with your show, anything yourself in your life, anything pops up you want to talk about?
regret. I don't like to say I regret anything. Everything happens for a reason. I like to try to learn from it. So regret, no. Things happen for a reason. I've made my decisions and I'll live with them. So regret, no.
And the show's going pretty smoothly for you?
I mean, as far as smooth, 100%. The amount of work that's going into it is a lot more than how it started. But yes, it is going smooth.
I know, like my last episode 2, I spent over 12 hours editing that video.
It's crazy.
For 60 minutes, and then you get tunnel vision, and like, all right, I'm gonna release that. I've watched it 3 times already, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's
One of the things all the time. But I mean, I did something the other day, and I sent it out to the team before it goes out, or before I at least queue it up on YouTube, and they watch it over because I get tunnel vision. I'm in there so long, sometimes, you know what I mean. You just forget
Well,
something.
it's great you got a team to work with.
Yeah, well, I mean, built the team strong. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all for sticking around and coming on and being here. Things are changing with the team. People are going, people are coming. You know what I mean? We are adjusting. But right now, I'm just thankful. For one, Brody B, the producer, my brother, been here since day one. Fuller's not here in person; they're in spirit. If I need a question about the camera, he's there. You know what I mean? My man Frank Benji's, has been at every episode for season 5 right now. Held the camera. He's getting into the photography now because I'm handing him cameras, telling him to hold it here or there. So
you guys look like a fun crew working together.
well, that's
You gotta get along with. Do you find you guys get along all the time, or do you guys butt heads with ideas, stuff like that?
Honestly, I mean, there's been things, that arise, but nothing crazy. You know what I mean? We're out there crying, laughing, joking around, bumping into each other, laughing. You know what I mean? Like, we're just having fun. You know what I mean? And
you gotta have fun doing this.
we're not taking it too serious. We take what we're doing serious with the shots and the audio and whatnot. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, we just kind of go in. We don't really have a script for what's going to be said or done. We ask the chefs, and the owners, what do you want to showcase? All right, cool. Send it out.
I think it connects more with your audience too.
Yeah. Like if you would go in there right now with a couple buddies, that's how it would be. I mean, we invite people all the time. Come eat with us one time. Come eat with us sometime.
I'll meet with you one time.
Yeah, easy.
Now, your logos. Did you create them yourself, or did you have somebody else?
So, all from my head. I've told my man Frank Benji's again. He's drew up. A few of the mainstay logos, and I told him what I wanted. He draws it up. I give it to someone who digitalizes it and makes it come to life for logos and whatnot and merch and whatnot. And they send it back, and it's basically from mine and my boy's head to the world, and it's pretty cool.
Have you stuck with the same logos?
Pretty much, yeah. The burger mouth has been the first one. The ice cream cone branched off. We got the one for Keith with the bowl with the wing and the jacket. We got that one. Yeah, pretty much the same ones. Then the serving culture one's been a mainstay since we started.
I always found myself retweaking my logos and whatnot, but I always end up sticking with our original start.
One, yeah.
It's like this logo here. I came out with that, and then people keep giving me ideas or to change it. But it's my first one, and I kind of just stick with it.
Yeah,
And
was
was my photography, my first flyer I made with this horse. I took the picture of that horse. And,
It's really nice. Where was that at?
that was Sheriff Rob Machel's farm. He has a horse farm, and I fell in love with that horse, and that was actually one of my first products I sold on my website.
It's really cool.
But I keep trying to redesign this stuff, but I always go back to the original.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been the burger mouth. We threw the FF in for Fuller Frames and his business collaboration logo, but it's always been those logos are the main ones, and it's kind of something I pride myself on too, is the branding of everything. It's pretty much a known brand when you see it now. And Don't Be Soft 315 with the ice cream cone. Right. You know who it is. So
Now, this season you got paid advertise or sponsorship?
we've been doing paid advertiser since I think season 3, or I think midway season 2, something like that. But yeah, we started paid advertisements either mid season 2 or 3. Yeah.
Now, was that somebody that approached you, or you approached somebody?
I kind of was just deep diving on YouTube and like, how do these people get paid for these views? Like, what the, like, just trying to figure out a way to get, you know what I mean? Like, I can't keep paying for all the food. I can't keep paying for these people to come on. I can't keep I can't pay for all this. It's gonna be a horrible business venture for a very short amount of time. So I realized that we had a following and it was getting bigger, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's advertising. You know what I mean? We can advertise. Just like you see a regular television show. You know what I mean? This is brought to you by these people, and then you got the commercials.
Right.
I was like, I can do that for myself, and that's kind of how Grown Locally TV was born too. Now, my channel, I want it to be looked at like a Netflix that you can go to and watch all these local shows that we've Grown Locally Media has made, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Eventually, if my show goes well, hopefully I'll get sponsors, advertising, I can upgrade too. 100%. If not, I'll keep working with what I got. And,
that's all it is, man.
And it's hard trying to build a following online.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed with my videos, even like episode 1 and 2, you get so many views, but then those people don't follow you. Yeah, so it's like, just hit that follow button, or
people don't understand how much it really helps you. Yeah.
So I never cared about followers in the beginning, but with my charity work, I do a lot of charity work, and I donate my business to Utica Royalties youth program in Utica. But when I go out and do these different charity events to get exposure, it does cost money. So I'm always telling people, follow me. If I hit 5,000 followers on Facebook, I can monetize my content. Right. I think I got one reel I put out. It has over 26,000 views. How many followers did I get out of that? Right. Not many. Right. Now, if they all followed me, every person that viewed it, I'd be able to monetize, and then I can put it back in doing more charity work, because people don't understand. Even just as a photographer, there's time, like you said, travel time, time being there, and then behind the scenes work. People don't realize.
Yeah, and all that. I'm editing, and trust me, it's time away from things that you.
People think you can just point and shoot and you're done. No, there's before and after.
There's a lot of work to be done behind the scenes, and you know what I mean. Like you said, just organizing everything too.
So you're 28 now. 5 years into your show. Where do you see the show going? 5 years, 10 years from now?
I mean, hopefully, probably other people running it. It'd still be underneath my company. You know what I mean, but. I'm trying to, right now, I got another show in the works that I'm working on right now. We got the podcast, the wrestling podcast out. I do the vlogs. I do the kids channel with my daughter. I'm planning on doing some short film things soon. That's kind of where I'm at right now. 10 years from now, Eat Local's still here. Eat Local's still a thing. It's still based and ran out of Utica, New York. Hopefully, we're Eat Local in Italy. Hopefully, we're Eat Local across the world doing things like that 10 years, 5 years down the road. But eventually, me falling off and maybe someone from the team taking that reign and running with that. And I plan on creating other teams for other things. And hopefully, this just keeps stacking, man.
The first guy I interviewed on episode 1, he was in the 1991 movie Doc Hollywood. And he's been on the radio. He's K-Rock and whatnot back in the 80s, 90s. And I told him, I said, you could even come be a host of my show. It's off the record with Azor Photography. I don't have to be the host. Right, 100%. I could do behind the scenes stuff while somebody else is hosting the show for me.
And I actually got an idea for that as well coming out. Like I said, all these different shows in my mind right now. My guys know I'm crazy. I'll be texting at 3 in the morning with ideas like, hey, what do you think about this? Oh, sorry, it's 3 a.m. Text me when you wake up. I'm all over the place, you know what I mean? But
I use my example, my ideas like a bowl of spaghetti. I'm all over the place with ideas, and sometimes you just have to just do it.
Yeah, and that's...
Take the chance and do it, and not be afraid to do it.
Just do it, man.
I never thought myself as a business and photographer to do so much stuff that I'm doing. Right. And I have other ideas that are in the works, too, that I don't really talk about.
Yeah.
And but this is one that I'm doing with Off the Record. May I ask what made you say yes to come onto the show?
From when I was watching everything he did with the photography on social media, I was like, I like what he's doing here. I was thinking about, even inviting you to come doing an event when I had one. Never had an event from that moment, but then I seen you pop out with this, and I started liking it and stuff like that. You said you want to be a part of it. I said, hell yeah. I love everything you're doing over here.
I appreciate you coming on.
100%.
And what made me want you to come on was because you're a photographer, you're doing video stuff, and you're doing great things in the community.
Appreciate it.
And with my show, that's what I want. I want something inspirational. I don't want, somebody who doesn't have something to add or give back to the community. I want positive vibes with my show. And it doesn't matter if it's a business, an artist, photographer, comedian, or whatnot. I just want something positive to come out of this, and doing great things what you're doing, and bringing, local, food to showing off the restaurants and business and all your other content. It's great for the community.
Appreciate
and we need more people to get involved and not just say, hey, Utica sucks.
Right, 100%.
Every place has its downfalls,
Absolutely.
And
I'm doing something right now that's kind of on the history of Utica. Not the history of Utica, but history in Utica, I guess you can say. And people ask me all the time, like, oh, this place sucks, why you do it? Dude, this is where I'm from. This is where I know. I happen to like where I'm from.
I find people say Utica sucks, and then once I start talking to them, I find out they're not engaged out.
Yeah.
They're not engaged out in the public. Or the people say there's nothing to do in Utica.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff to do in Utica.
In Utica, like you got all these artists and musicians, and people are bringing stuff to do, but people keep saying, I still hear it today.
Yeah.
I tell them, well, get involved, get behind the scenes.
Yep.
So saying Utica sucks, get involved on social media.
Get out in the field, see how it
and
is.
see what's going on.
There's a lot going on here. And there's a lot to go on here, and like you said, get involved.
You plan on having another big event in the future?
100%. So it's December now. We'll probably start planning end of January. Have something for February, maybe March. Another food pop-up is in the works, is what we call them. It's something from the city that I've learned happens a lot out there, but not out here. Wanted to bring that down here. Had our first one a year or two ago, the food pop-up, and where we cook, the team, eat local. Yes, we're making the video, but we're also cooking. We came up with the ingredients. We sourced everything, and we cook it and serve it to you as well.
So you guys and your team have a background in cooking?
Yeah, so myself and Frank Benji's, we both grew up loving just to watch, like, we learned how to cook, like, off YouTube. Worked in some pizza shops here and there, some fast food joints, stuff like that. I was a deli guy for a long time. Keith, he was a former butcher, you know what I mean, for Hannaford Shenantries. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting this, Keith, but one of them, he's a butcher. I knew that. I knew that he was a butcher. But so, he loves to cook as well, and we all just love to kind of flip the script. You know what I mean? I have the chefs who we went and filmed with.
Right.
They come to the event. Now I'm feeding them. You know what I mean? And it's a whole different dynamic that I just like to portray, and something I just like to do. I like to feed people. That's something I like to do. I like to come up with crazy flavors. I like to up the ante on random dishes. And
you plan on going into New Year's Eve downtown?
probably not.
They got the chili cook-off.
We'll
the UPD
see.
gets the fire department.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Maybe we'll do something like that, but usually like days like that, I'm just chilling with the family. Yeah.
Nice. Now, do you have anything, advice, you can look at the camera, anything as far as, yeah, you can look at the camera, do you have any advice for somebody who's thinking about doing, kind of what you're doing or what I'm doing, or any type of ideas, any business advice, any artistic advice or anything like that to motivate somebody?
Yeah, just do it. Don't be afraid. Take what you have right now. Don't worry about the things that you're looking online or you see other people that do what you want to do have. You'll get there. Learn how to do the most with the bare minimal. And ask questions. Like you said, don't be afraid to shake people's hands in this kind of game. Doesn't matter if you're just a photographer or a video guy, shake their hands. I like what you're doing. You know what I mean? And just, obviously be respectful with the way you carry yourself in business. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, just go for it, and don't stop, and don't let nobody deviate you off of the path that you know that you're on, 100%.
And this seems to be I've been asking each person on my show so far the same question. It's it's nice hearing when you older folks are saying it, and then somebody young, such as yourself, saying it.
Yeah.
And,
be you, man. That's another thing. Sorry, but be you.
Be bold, be you, be brave, be beautiful.
There it is. Bees.
So,
Or bees.
before we close out the interview, I'm going to ask you what I asked my other folks.
Okay.
If you could sum up your life in a few words, what words would you choose?
Damn.
I like to get deep a little bit. I think
3 words you said?
a few words.
You?
My last interview, you chose one word. I'm like, you're in your 40s. That's all you got is one word.
Yeah.
But if you could sum up your life in a few words, one word, whatever words you want to choose.
I'm beaten, I'm broken and unbeaten, you know what I mean? Been through a lot. Those are the 2 words just offhand, I guess. And blessed. Just say blessed, that's for sure. I'm blessed with the things that I'm able to do right now. I'm blessed with the positions I've gotten to be in. I'm blessed with the people who I've got with me. And not only business-wise, but personally as well. You know what I mean? So if I had to say one word, I would say blessed. That's for sure.
Oh, you chose 3.
3.
Beaten, broken, and blessed.
Yeah.
And that kind of resonates with my background, my story a little bit. I've been beaten, broken, and I'm still beaten and broken.
Yeah.
But I feel blessed at the same time.
100%.
And I know every day is not guaranteed. Every day is a struggle. And, sometimes our own worst enemies are ourselves.
That's for sure.
But
that is your worst enemy forever.
Yeah, but the blessing part, like you have sounds like you got a good crew, you got a good family, you got a good support system, and it's nice when people support you, and that helps you get pushed past the broken and beaten part.
Yeah, 100%. People are still there for me, lifting me up. I wouldn't be here without them.
So if you want, you can tell the camera where can people find you, all your content. If you promote yourself and tell us where we could find all your content.
So GIO, Gump like Forest. Like I said, stupid is what stupid does, but no, we're not related. You can look Geo Gump on Google or any other platform, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Instagram, whatever you got. Geo Gump. Eat Local 315 or Grown Locally TV on YouTube. That's how you find the show. We also got the pizza and wing reviews on there. The wrestling podcast, Hell in the Pod, on there. We got a bunch of things going on. Season 5 just dropped. So we're in Season 5. Catch on now so you don't have to catch up. We on our mustard.
Now you're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those platforms.
Yep.
And
Geo Gump.
And some of your other team members are too?
Yep, you can follow Frank Benji's at Frank Benji's on Facebook. Brody B does not have social media. Keith Brown or Food Dude on Facebook for Keith Brown. And he's also Dobson KB or something like that on Instagram. But if you find one of us, you'll find the rest of us. That's for sure.
Well, I want to commend you for everything you've been accomplishing and with your show. And hopefully, whoever watches this gets inspired, and that's the goal, to have inspiration out of doing these interviews, and so hopefully, now that I'm covered in dog here.
That's all good, man.
But yeah, I look forward to your growth and seeing where you go and seeing the great things you have. And it's hard being a business. I'm sure you realize the same way, is trying to follow everything that's going on and other people and that. It's a full-time job doing just social media.
It absolutely is.
And trying to keep up with the latest fads. Like, I try to follow you and other people, but I can't. I'm so tied up with my own project, I can't watch every second of your content. But
I get it.
I'm there fully to support you and what you do.
Appreciate that.
So if I don't like something, like I told somebody else, if I don't like something, it's probably because I didn't see it or because I haven't had time. Because it's a full-time work doing this, it really is. And for a young guy like you doing it and pushing forward, I commend you.
Appreciate that. And, thank you very much.
So anything else you want to add before we take off?
Yeah, man, listen. Don't be soft out here. Support local, source local, eat local.